Okay, welcome to section 4 of footsteps. And now that we have the basic concept down, let's look at how we can tighten up our analysis even more. By now, I'm sure you can see how powerful this technique is. But now let's go back to this bar that closed here. Look at this red bar here. We see that the close of this long red candle, or this long footstep, closed below this last down footstep over here. And remember what I told you about the spring on the way down? Well, on the way down, wherever it stops, whenever it stops, 9 times out of 10, it's going to stop at a spring, or it's going to stop at a support bar. When it closed below this most recent support bar here, when I say most recent, I mean in relation to the close here, then we know that the market or the man should continue down. But after each step, there is usually a pullback, just like when you walk. When you take a step forward, before you can take that next step forward, your center of gravity rocks backwards so that you have the ability to push off forward to take your next step. So when you take a step forward, before you can step forward again, you rock back. You don't take a step back, but you rock back your center of gravity. And so, but now let's say if this bar had closed within the range of this footstep. Now in that case, we would expect a spring back up. So we want to make sure that the close of a footstep, if it's coming downward, we want to make sure that it doesn't close within the area of that spring, because then the risk is, remember, the deeper the spring coils down, the more powerful it releases back up. And we can even tighten up our analysis even further, because what if we don't even want to take a chance on a 50% pullback within the range of the last upward footstep? Now let's switch over to our line chart. What we have here, we have a trend break. We were in an uptrend all the way up here, and what do we have here? We have a lower high, and once we get a close below this bottom here, we have a lower low on the way. So this is a trend break. And now when we use this technique, we want to use it in the direction of the trend. So once we got this break here, the trend has turned from up to down. But now where is our trend break? Here. And so to tighten up our analysis even further, let's go back to our candle chart. And after the break, where is the next closest green bar to the break? And that would be here. Okay, so now the pullback bar, we're going to anticipate the pullback bar to try to come back to the most recent area of resistance after the break, and that would be this bar here. Now we didn't quite make the range of this bar. We hit the real body of this bar, or not quite the real body of this bar. But you can see what I'm talking about, because this is the break, and this is the most recent resistance, or the most recent green bar after the break. Now price tried to make it back up, or he tried to pull back to this bar, but there was just too much resistance on the way up. Too much resistance. So if you want to be conservative, and actually because this candle is so long, or this footstep is so long, this is like taking 2 steps forward, or 2 steps backwards, 2 steps down actually. But most of the time on a regular range bar, you're going to get that pullback to this bar or this bar here, the most recent bars after the break. Can you see how powerful this is? Now remember, we only want to do it in the direction of the trend. So, and this is what I say about the line charts, and I keep saying how they're so important. If you're looking at this candle chart, you really don't know if we have a trend break or not. But when you switch over to the line chart, clarity comes into play. You can see that trend break now. The noise is eliminated. Okay, now let's tighten it up even more. How could we be even more certain that this bar was not going to go up and reverse? Once again, when we look at where this bar closed, and then we have a bounce coming up here, what is it bouncing off of? Where's the bounce or the power coming from to spring it back up? Because what's going to happen? What did we say on the way down? It should go down and stop at a support or a red bar. And the next closest red bar is here. And if we move our line down here and look, before a actual reversal spring back up, we would want to see price come down and bounce off of this level. We want to see it hit this next spring. Once it clears this spring, now it needs to bounce off of this spring. So now you get down here and you say, I missed the pivot. You get down here and you say, I missed the pullback. Because you can see what happened after this bar. Boom, down. So, and look at where this bar closed. This bar closed right at this spring. But now look how small this spring is. See, this is not a very powerful spring. It's a small range bar. And it's inside the range of this spring. So whenever you see an inside bar, you can consider that a part of the range of the bar that it falls inside of. I like to call this mother and this child, because a mother is pregnant with a small child. And so if we move price, we move our bar down to, our line down to where mother opened, or the real body of mother. We can see that on the next bar, once we get down into mother, the range of mother's real body, this is where the next spring occurs and bounces this bar back up. But now, when this bar bounced back up, where did it stop? The last green bar. We're in the range of this green bar, and this next bar started a move downward. And where did we bounce off of? we bounced off of this green bar. So once price came down into mother here, we got slightly down into mother, but we did not close below mother, and we sprang back up. First we closed within the shadow, then we closed, then we touched and bounced off the real body. This is why I like to enter my trades off the real body, because the real body is where the most buyers are going to be who are now sellers. And these next two bars, they went down. This is the daily chart, so this is a nice, probably about a 80 to 100 pip down move off of resistance here. And once again, this bar here, and then this bar came up. We know that this bar is gonna stop at one of these green bars, because where's our power coming from? We're not bouncing off of anything here. Anytime you see a move that is not coming off of a bounce, that move is not going to be sustained 9 times out of 10. And just apply logic to it when we think about how things bounce. And when you read my free book and you see how I have the floor and the ceiling, okay, this is actually what's happening. If you were to look at price as a ball, it's bouncing between red and green. Red the floor, green the ceilings. And so once you have missed a move, you've missed a pivot entry, or you've missed a breakout entry, and we'll talk about breakouts a little bit later. Okay, so now you're sitting here and you're thinking, wow, I missed the move. I missed it. Well, since the trend is down at the moment here, you're going to expect a pullback up to here, and you're going to want to go short here, because you're going short on off of a bounce in the direction of the downtrend. Now once trend turns back up, you don't want to do it. If we were in an uptrend here, you would not want to play this bounce. Okay, I'm running out of time on this segment, and we'll pick it up in the next section, section 5.